We've all heard of the velociraptors, an extinct predator made into what is one of the most famous dinosaurs out there thanks to Jurassic Park and its sequels, scientific inaccuracies or not. But many of us have forgot about this next cinema raptor that would make even the velociraptor and its larger cousin the Utah raptor tremble with fear. When it comes to Peter Jackson's vision of the iconic King Kong and Skull Island, what predator do you think is the most efficient and deadly of all? Could it be the V-Rex? Truly massive and the only creature that can fight Kong in a one-on-one fight, but the V-Rex is not the best hunter on the island. That title goes to the Venatosaurus, or v-raptors, the descendants of the velociraptors that over an extra 65 million years of isolated evolution turned them into the greatest pack hunters the planet has ever seen. So you just heard right, in the lore of King Kong, at least the Peter Jackson version, the v-raptors came from the velociraptors. Now this was mostly due to the popularity of the dinosaur after Jurassic Park, but in reality the Skull Island raptors are like no dinosaur we've ever seen before. Having qualities that we see in mammals, the v-raptors are a unique monster, and in today's video we will be breaking them down to find all there is to know about them, along with some secrets as to how they came to be for the film. These alpha predators appear during one of the most wild moments in the movie, the infamous Dino Stampede. While some have used this scene to criticize the entire movie, others still appreciate everything awesome that it brought to the table, specifically the Venatosaurus. Using their superb cunning and hunting tactics, the raptors were able to create a brontosaurus stampede, all while our unlucky human crew was stuck right smack in the middle of it. We will talk about why the raptors choose to start these destructive stampedes and why it makes them the best hunters on Skull Island later on in the video, so make yourself comfy. If you like these monster breakdowns, make sure to subscribe, hit the like button, and comment to help spread the video around. The Venatosaurus Monster Breakdown, let's get to it. The overall shape and look of the v-raptors on the surface look just like our basic understanding of dromaeosaurs, the species of dinosaur that the raptors came from during the time the film came out. The fame and stylistic decisions created by Jurassic Park carried on in this movie, and we got the featherless, lean take on this breed of dinosaurs that has since drastically changed. This all makes sense though when you take into account how the Venatosaurus, said by Peter Jackson himself, are the descendants of velociraptors, and therefore their design, taking certain aspects of the Jurassic design, fits in place. But the Venatosaurus are much larger than real-life raptors of the past, and even the juiced-up versions that we see in Jurassic Park. 6 to 7 feet tall, 16 to 24 feet long, and likely weighing in near 1,000 pounds. A size that resembles that of the Utah raptor, the deadliest and largest raptor ever discovered. But there is also another member of the Venatosaurus family called Impavitus that grows to a size much more in line with real-life velociraptors, coming in at around 3 feet tall and growing to lengths of 8 to 12 feet. The estimates for real-life velociraptors say that the creature weighed no more than 50 pounds, so it would be safe to place the Venatosaurus Impavitus in the same ballpark range. Both species shared nearly identical physical appearances other than their size, a body made perfect for the ever-changing terrain of Skull Island. Their bodies were lean and built for utmost mobility, while their bones were hollow, which made them lighter and more nimble. The honeycomb interior of the bones still promoted strength and durability. Just like the V-Rex, the V-raptors had specially evolved hips that allowed them to bend and sway effortlessly through the jungles and rocky landscapes of the island, lowering the top speed of the creature, but the added benefits of greater range of motion more than made up for their slower speed. These hips allowed them to crouch nearly all the way down to the ground, but kept their legs positioned in a way that was still ideal for sudden bursts, pouncing out at their prey. The addition of a size-reduced ribcage also helped with flexibility, and the V-raptor's lungs were evolved to be deeper so that they were still large enough to support strong breaths and cardio performance, making them nearly perfect stealth hunters, constantly stalking the land for their next meal, giving no signs that they were even there. To aid in their stealth, the V-raptors had earthy green and brown colorations that were perfect for blending into the terrain. An adaptation that helped the smaller Impavitus were tiger-like stripes that reached all the way down its back, helping them blend into waist-high grass and vegetation found in their environments. If you still don't believe that the Venatosaurus is Skull Island's best hunter, here is another adaptation to support this idea. Sitting on top of the creature's head are two powerful eyes, positioned this way for one specific goal: to help the animal see above grass or perhaps a boulder that it was hiding behind. Peering over top the cover similar to how a periscope works in a submarine. The eyes appeared more cat-like than something we see on reptiles or birds, and this is the start of one of the Venatosaurus' more curious design choices. The design team added in multiple mammal-like adaptations that the v-raptors had. The cat eyes, dog-like snout, and the birth of live young, meaning no eggs, which we will talk about later on in the video. The last adaptation to create the perfect predator was one that sounds oddly more human than dinosaur. With remarkable dexterity in their fingers, the raptors were able to carefully move a blade of grass or a branch from a tree out of the way so they could survey the land without being seen. And some reports state that they could even move vegetation around their bodies to camouflage themselves into the backdrop of the forest. This behavior is something that shows the advanced intelligence of the creatures and that they think on levels more in line with mankind than many other animals, both real and fictional. So now that you are well aware of the stealth capabilities of the v-raptors, let's talk about what they had to use at their disposal when the attack began. A thick skull and large mouth ensured that not only could the creatures take one hell of a large bite, inflicting more damage and allowing them to consume more meat in single bites, but also they could handle strong blows to the head without taking as much damage, unless of course a freaking long neck steps on it. Venatosaurus had a thick and powerful chest, perfect for building strong arms, capable of grabbing into the sides of cliffs or the hides of massive prey. They retained the Velociraptor's famous sickle claw in each foot, and the rest of their claws were as sharp and deadly as it gets. Their teeth were rigid and tough to handle the immense pressure and torque their powerful jaws could produce, but they were also slender and razor-edged, which helped them penetrate even the toughest of hides. Now that you know that individually each Venatosaurus is a prime killer, let's talk about what makes them such successful predators and the only creatures capable of hunting the largest dinosaurs on the island. The ability to work together in packs. The v-raptors were vastly more social and intelligent than many of their dinosaur kin. This allowed them to form small packs of 5 to 10 members, all with specific roles in their community. This translated into more hunts ending in a meal than working alone, and enabled them to use hunting tactics that could never work without a team. Remember the stampede scene that we mentioned earlier? Would look like nothing but chaos was actually a plan put in place by the raptors that worked perfectly. The Venatosaurus specialized in creating situations in which they didn't need to always put themselves in danger, the stampede being the perfect example. They chased the Brontosaurus down a tight and narrow canyon where the large animals would panic and injure themselves. The raptors knew that at the end of this canyon was a massive cliffside and that the large dinosaurs would not be able to handle this. They knew that some of these Brontosaurus would fall to their unfortunate deaths. And just like that, after a quick trip down the mountain, they would have endless meat to consume. But why stop there? At the end of this path was a dead end, so now that there was no place to go, the raptors could just wait for the perfect time to strike, when the Brontosaurus grew weak from not being able to eat or drink water after a long period of time, trapped with no place to go. We see real-life pack animals operate in ways just like this, and just like with the Venatosaurus, these packs have a much higher success rate than hunting alone. To form such effective packs, the v-raptors developed excellent ways of communication with one another. During mating season, the females, not the males, would be the initiators.
And happy International Women's Day.
When she was ready, she would raise her tail to signal mating interest. Then any males who think she was right for them, meaning all of them, would begin to strut around the female in a weird sort of dance. After a while, she would select which male strutted the best, and well, the rest of this would get us in trouble with YouTube, but you get the idea. This is where the curious delivery of live birth would come into play. While this is not uncommon in some reptiles and other non-mammalian creatures, there is no evidence of live dinosaur or birds, which are direct descendants of certain dinosaurs, having any species that deliver live young. Why the lore creators decided to add this in is unknown, but it's likely due to the raptors putting more effort into just a few offspring who come out ready to go instead of spending months caring for eggs. Skull Island is a place where constant moving likely needed to happen for predators to consistently find prey, and having to guard a nest of eggs would make this much more difficult. Once the babies were born, a pack member would stay behind at their nest to keep the younglings safe, just like we see with wolves and other pack hunters. Also like wolves, the v-raptors would never actively go into another pack's territory, and they had a level of mutual respect that ended up with little to no pack interaction. Whenever two packs would meet up, most occurrences ended up with nothing more than displays of aggression, like scratching the ground and screeching. If two Venatosaurus did fight, it was usually not to the death, as the losing individual would show submissive displays, lowering its head and tail and crouching, stopping the fight before serious injuries or death could occur. After everything that has been revealed about these raptors of Skull Island, it's hard to find another predator that surpasses them. It's not as large and threatening as the V-Rex, not as terrifying as the bugs and worms, and not as swift as the giant flying bats. But when it comes to being a perfect hunter, being smart leads to kills, which means life for these animals. If you like this monster breakdown, make sure to like the video and comment what you think about the V-Raptors down below to get the YouTube algorithm on our side. Thank you all for giving me your time, and I can't wait to see you again in Dangerville. This has been Jacob, and peace out.